Hello everyone. Now let's understand how to access the IO programming in 8051 by using C programming. So in the previous session, we have discussed regarding the accessing of bit from SFR by just defining the header file instead of defining the SFR address. So now today we will start with how to access the bits by addressing the SFR. So let's start with the topic. So this topic deals with how to access single bit of SFR. Here the way to access single bit of SFR has been discussed, and you can see here by writing the header file we will start our programming, and then if you want to access any single bit of SFR then you will use the data type as bit. This data type is very important for us. This we have already discussed whenever we were discussing regarding the data types of C. S bit data type is used to access single bit of SFR. Then you can define any variable name. Let's take an example, my bit, and then you can perform any operation if you want to perform with the data of port and another data. Your XOR operation has been performed and you are accessing a single bit of this data. This is a single bit data, so here you can have access of single bit. You can use this S bit to declare the bit of SFR, and this has been declared by yourself only. This way you can write down, instead of writing the reg51.h header file, directly you can define this because this data type is valid in 8051 C programming. This is a data type of C programming. S bit you can directly define. Now let's take an example of how to write a program to turn port 1.5 on and off. This is the fifth pin of port 1. If you want to make this fifth pin of port 1 continuously on off 50,000 times, how we will write the C program for that we are going to discuss now. Your S bit, my bit is equal to 0 cross 95. Here it will access this data and it will be accessed single bit. Then you have to define the void main, and then how many types you want to run the loop, that you have to define in form of integer. Here Z has been taken as an integer which will run 50,000 times, and this my bit you can toggle from 1 to 0, 0 to 1 continuously. So this way you can write your program for toggling of port 1.5, that is fifth pin of port 1, continuously on off, and then you can perform the toggling or the on and off of this port 50,000 times by running this loop, for loop, which is accessed by the integer z. So this is the way of writing the program. This you might have learned in C programming. This is the simple way of writing the program. Now instead of this S bit which you are defining outside, you can define it inside also. No need to specify the location of this S bit. Directly if you have returned the header file, then no need of writing this location. We have already discussed the way to access single bit of SFR. If you are writing header file, then you will directly use this S bit. Otherwise, if you are not defining header file, then you have to define the location of S bit, because this header file is only having the information of where to access this S bit. Okay, so here you have defined the location because the programmer or the computer was not knowing the location of from where you have to access S bit, but over here you have defined the hash include header file of 8051, so no need to write down this s bit my bit 0 cross 95, because this is specifying the address or the location from where you have to fetch this single bit of SFR. Directly you can access this S bit over here as you have defined the header file, and rest of the program is same which we have discussed. Clear? Now, the next we are moving is towards access bit addressable RAM. Here you can see the allocation of memory has been defined in different levels, and if you want to use any bit to access one bit of the total bit addressable space or the total data RAM space, which is from 20 to 2FH, which is the bit addressable memory space from 20H location to 2F location. That is your bit addressable range. So here you can access this range by calling the header file and then by including the S bit in bit data type, and then you can define whatever memory space or whatever you want to access. So here bit mem bit will assign a RAM space to my bit, and memory bit is allocated to the internal bit of RAM. So this way you can access the bit addressable RAM by calling the header file and then by calling the in bit, that is the internal bit of memory. So you can access it by using the S bit data type. Okay. So this way you can access the internal RAM space. Now this is one of the example of how to access or how to write an 8051C program to get the status of bit P1.0 and where to save it and send it for port P2.7 continuously. So here first you will include the header file, then you will have S bit in bit P1 XOR 0, then you will have S bit out bit P2 XOR 7. So this way you can access your bits, and then you can have the loop which you will run forever whenever you are defining while one. While one means while there is some task to perform, at that time this loop will run forever. It will run for continuous time. So this way it will work for accessing or for sending the data from P1 to P2. So it will take from in bit, that is P1, it will be loaded here in memory bit, and then at the output bit it will be saved as memory bit. So first you are sending your data from in bit, that is your input bit, that will be loaded in memory bit. Now that memory bit you are showing the output as output bit. पहले हमने इन बिट से डेटा लेके मेमोरी बिट में डाला, देन मेमोरी बिट को हमने आउटपुट बिट पे ट्रांसफर किया. So this way the transfer of data will be going from port 1 to port 2, from pin number 0 of port 1 to pin number 7 of port 2. This way you can have accessing of the data. Now the logical operations in 8051C program. Let's have a short brief introduction to this topic, otherwise in depth we will see in the next session. So here you are going to learn the logical operations. This already you know. Whenever you have to perform AND operation, the symbol for AND is ampersand. So if you have two data 0 cross 35 and 0 cross 0f, then you will directly apply the ampersand sign in C programming, and then you can have the ending of two data whenever you are using this symbol. So in C program, these are the bitwise operations which you can directly use in form of symbols if you want to perform logical operations. So ampersand sign here will perform the AND operation between two data, bitwise AND operation. Then this sign will apply the OR operation between two data. This caret sign will perform the exclusive OR between two data. And this sign, tilde sign, will apply the inversion or complement of data. All these signs or all these symbols are for performing bitwise operation, not logical operation. This is for bitwise operation. In logical, you can have output as 0 or 1, but here we will have output as performing bitwise operation. So this way you can note down these symbols if you want to perform bitwise operations in C. In the next session, we will understand the examples of these operations. So thank you very much. We will discuss this topic in the next session. Thank you.